If we can go ahead and get settled. Welcome, everyone. Is it loud? I don't think it's loud enough. Dean of Student Affairs at AUC. I've been with AUC for 18 years, but this is my very first time hosting the white coat ceremony, and I'm so honored to be here with you today. I know many of you have parents in the audience watching via Zoom, and they shared my pride in you today with what you've accomplished. And they also know that you're going to do great things and be great physicians. We also know that many of them have planes to catch this afternoon. So part of my job is to make sure that the program keeps going so that we can get everyone out on time for their flights. But first, I'd like to share a little story with you that was told to me by our Associate Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Danny Wedding. You might know that Sir Christopher Wren was a famous architect in the 17th century, best known for building St. Paul's Cathedral in London. When Wren needed a chief stonemason, and he had narrowed the search down to 3 workers, he then went incognito in disguise and asked each man the same question: "What are you doing?" The first man replied, "Why, you idiot, you can see, I'm building a wall." Then he went to the second man and asked the same question, and the man replied, "I'm building a wall, can't you see that?" Then he went to the third man and once again asked the same question. The man replied, "I am helping Sir Christopher Wren build a beautiful cathedral that will forever celebrate the glory of our Creator." You can imagine who got the job. There will be times in your medical education that you become frustrated and discouraged. You will feel that question 17 on quiz 3 was unfair, or you will be annoyed. You'll be annoyed that the testing center is far too hot and may also at times be far too cold. Or you will simply find yourself terribly homesick. When that happens, recall that these are simply bricks and walls. And remember Sir Christopher Wren. Remember that each day, each class, each exam brings you closer to your ultimate goal. You are going to be a doctor. It took 35 years to build St. Paul's Cathedral. Over the next 35 years, you're going to build a lasting legacy that will forever impact your patients and your community. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. All right, now we need to get on with our ceremony. It is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, AUC's Dean, Dr. Pedro Delgado.
Welcome to all of you to today's white coat ceremony. It is amazing to see the room like this with all of you and your proud parents and loved ones who are here to kind of celebrate the day with you. I think as Dr. Kirkland mentioned, we know that some of you weren't so sure that you were going to get here. Some of you were told you're not good enough. Give it up. But yet, those of you that are here have the resilience, the fortitude, and the strength of desire to be a physician. That against all odds, you made it here to this little Caribbean island, taking a path, an alternate path, but one that, as you'll hear from the alumni, is a really successful path that will take you to being a physician. The white coat ceremony is, in essence, a rite of passage. It's a symbol, a physical demonstration of your kind of moving into a profession. And it's important to kind of realize that this is not like being a carpenter, or being a policeman, or being an airline pilot. In this profession, people will put their lives in your hands. You'll have opportunities, probably every single one of you at some point, to save a life, to make decisions that can make life and death decisions for people and their families with regard to the ones that they love. And on a daily basis, when you're practicing, you will have the responsibility and the authority to interact with people and to give them medications, other treatments that are sometimes dangerous. And the foundations of that, the knowledge that leads you to be capable of doing that, is what you learn during medical school. And it's important, as I think Dr. Kirkland alluded to understand this in the context of what you're ultimately trying to achieve. It's not about getting that 62% that gets you over the hurdle for that class. The reason that we have tests is to try and help you to measure whether your level of knowledge is at a level that is kind of enough to be a safe and a successful physician. It's easy to get caught up in the trap of just seeing it as just another thing, another number, another hurdle. It's a race, you're just trying to get to the end. But I think you kind of have to step back and understand that this is about you demonstrating to yourself and to others that you actually have the information that you need to build on, so that when you get into clinicals and you start interacting with people and you start more and more being responsible for their health care, that you're gonna be a good, successful, and competent physician, and more than that. So we know that you have the strength of spirit and character. We chose you because of those features. We know that you haven't sometimes been as great at test takers, and we're going to work with you to become better test takers. And we're going to work with you to get that knowledge. But this right today, this ceremony, has a lot to do with what we refer to as professionalism. And professionalism isn't just about looking sharp. It's not just about the words that you say. It's about the actions that you take and the solemn responsibility that society puts in your hand. And that extends to understanding the things around you when you're in a system that are not working well or pose a risk or danger to other people. If you're an airline pilot and the co-pilot was drunk, you wouldn't just sit there and say, oh, it's okay. It's not me. It's not my responsibility. So I think you have a responsibility to each other and later to those in your profession, those people that are your colleagues in your practice, in your hospital, to ensure that everyone is practicing at a high level, and that people aren't skirting, cutting corners, or doing things that put other individuals or patients at risk. That's what it's all about. It's not about kind of getting the right score on the test. It's not about progressing to the next level. It's about the fact that you are now entering a profession that puts a lot of responsibility and privilege uh, on you, and it's important to take that really seriously. As part of that and part of professionalism is in choosing the words that you say and in how you approach situations. If you're at a hospital and you see something that's not going right, I think the answer to that is not to write a letter to a newspaper. It's actually to go and find out what's not going right, understand the system, and to be a constructive force in making it better. And that's a shift. I think many of you, come from a kind of a university environment where it's okay to say whatever you think. It's okay to kind of broadcast that out in social media. And I say this, going off a little bit on this tangent today, because I'm seeing the destructive effects of that on some of you. I'll call it out. There is an app, I think most of you know, called Yik Yak, right? And I look on this app. I see the comments that are made. I think you guys really need to get beyond. You need to start understanding that people are going to look to you to be that physician, the professional. And they're going to want to know that they're proud, that you're their doctor, and that they trust that you're going to do the right thing. And so I think it's important to kind of move away. It's not that you shouldn't be on social media, you should. But just be thoughtful about the comments that you make and the meanings of the words that you're using and the tone that you use. Because people will be looking up to you to be a role model. They'll be looking up to you to be someone that they can trust. I think that those sometimes the things that are said on these platforms are really not conducive to that. The other thing I see sometimes on that platform is the sense that, there's a joke, I'm not sure who originated it, but, who would want to be in a club that would have me as a member? I think the sense that maybe you didn't feel like you deserved to be here, people told you couldn't do it, you weren't good enough, kind of plays out there, that there's a tendency to kind of think, if these people are no good and I'm no good, and you start to believe that, you start to kind of get into a very dark, negative space. I think you need to be the voice of reason. You need to be the voice of kind of positivity. You need to raise others up, raise yourselves up, raise the school up. There's nothing to be gained by tearing down other people or tearing down institutions that you depend on. So I think it's important to understand that today you're being brought into a profession where there's a lot of responsibility. It's not just about kind of the title. It's not about just kind of getting to do a certain kind of work. It's about having a life and death responsibility for other people in society, and to be a spokesperson, for high standards and values, and to be a conservative voice, not in the political sense, but a conservative voice in the sense that you speak only what you know. And that when people hear you say something, they can trust it because they know that it's true, that it's accurate. And so, I would advise you really strongly to think deeply about this. This is not a game, and it'll become even more clear later in your careers when you get onto the clinics and people ask you questions, and you need to be prepared, and you need to be prepared to be articulate and clear and accurate. And if you haven't done your homework there, there are consequences to the people that you're working with, the patients that you're trying to help. So take this seriously. This event today is the ritual that acknowledges your entry into the medical profession. Now, I'll come back to some of my prepared comments. This ceremony is actually relatively recent, and some of the origins of it actually have to do with the notion of professionalism, and that the coat actually signifies that. Coats have been around, white coats have been around for a long time in medicine, since the 1900s, mostly because of how they originated in laboratories and kind of the sense of bringing science into medicine. But later, in 1993 actually, was the origin of this ceremony at Columbia University. Now, I entered medical school probably before many of you were born, 1979. When I went to medical school, we didn't have a white coat ceremony. Somewhere in the first to second year, we were told to go to the bookstore, get our little coats, and to show up on the wards soon as we started getting into that, kind of second and third year kind of time frame. I think one of the people who saw the need to use this transition as a way of signaling to students the importance of it was a person named Arnold P. Gold at Columbia University. He was a pediatric neurologist, and I think he understood a lot of what I just kind of prefaced my comments with, that this is a really solemn and serious moment. It's important for you to take it like that. It's not a reward. It is the beginnings of a privilege and a responsibility that is being bestowed on you. Dr. Gold established eventually a humanism society that encouraged professionalism in medicine and a more humanistic approach. That you as physicians aren't just treating people as diseases, as laboratory numbers, that you're treating them as individuals, that you're becoming a real person to them and that you care about them. The Gold Foundation identifies several things for this ceremony, several components, which tend to kind of foster that sense of a contract. When you put that coat on, you are in essence acknowledging a contract to be a professional, humanistic, knowledgeable physician. The invitation of friends and family to the ceremony both represents the support system, but also they are acknowledging and witnessing the commitment that you're making when you don the white coat. The ceremony of deans, faculty, other people being present also represent the value system and the school that it will bring you into this new profession. You're also going to be privileged to hear an inspiring address by a AUC graduate, Dr. Noah Jensen. And I think his role is to show you, where you can go, what you can do. And it is limitless. We have amazing alumni. One of the people on our board of trustees, Dr. Steve Sivit, is the chief medical officer for Baylor Scott & White Health System in Texas, the whole health system, and he's an AUC alum. I could go on and on and on, but you'll get an opportunity to see some of these people, look for them, be inspired by them, and use that to kind of build things up, to build yourself up, to make sure that you're the one setting the bar. And if you don't think that you know enough, go back and learn some more. 62%, 70% is only 70%. Do 80%, 90%. Take the time to do this. This is the time that's going to create that foundation on which the rest of your clinical career will be built. So all the components, and the final piece, final two pieces, is the cloaking, the actual physical cloaking with the white coat that signifies you're entering into the position, into the profession, and then finally the swearing of the Hippocratic Oath. You will have a coat, you will swear an oath, and you need to understand the meaning of that oath and its implications. So all these things alert medical students, you, to the need for balance and excellence in science with being a compassionate physician in the care that you provide to people, the complete doctor. The values and aspirations are central to us here at AUC, and they form the basis of how we selected you. Those are the things that we look for. We don't look for the highest GPA. We don't measure our school by how many people we reject. We measure our school by how many people we bring in that deserve an opportunity and succeed. We're completely aligned in that with you. We believe in you, and your success is our success. If you don't succeed, we don't succeed. Every single thing that we do, every faculty member that's here, that's the single purpose of our being here, is for you. We believe that the makings of a great physician aren't reflected in a test score, but rather in the motivations that drive a person to an individual's passion to help others. There's a quote that I'll mention by a physician named William Peabody, and it's kind of one of those things that just, on face value, obvious. He said, the secret of caring for a patient is caring for a patient. Right? It's actually caring. It's about the empathy, the connection that you create. So we believe that in order to provide healthcare to our most vulnerable and disenfranchised, we need a diverse set of physicians. You guys are amazingly diverse in probably every metric that you could choose. Enjoy that. It's not always like that. Things sometimes get a little narrow in certain places, certain specialties. And I think that all of you are going to go out and you're going to change healthcare. You're going to change the world by what you do and what you bring to the table. So with this ceremony, we welcome you to the medical profession and pass along our fervent hope that you will become outstanding, well-rounded, and humanistic doctors. For our part, we'll do everything that we can to ensure your success. Let's get on with the show. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Delgado. Next, I would like to introduce the AUC Council of the SGA President, Mr. Brandon George, to give the student leader address.
All right. Good morning, new students, family, and friends. My name is Brandon Georges. I am in my 4th semester and the student body president of the American University of the Caribbean School of Medicine. And I'm extremely honored to welcome each of you to the September 2022 White Coat Ceremony. (1,461). This is the number of days between your first day and last day of medical school. In those 1,461 days, you'll face countless challenges that will teach you more and more about yourself. Things like balancing school, exercise, sleep, and friends. Learning how to adapt your study habits as you encounter new information. Losing Wi-Fi on the day of an exam. Slipping in the rain as you walk from building 1 to building 2, and pulling an all-nighter after thinking that material totally makes sense before a friend asks you a question that you have no clue what the answer is. We've all experienced these moments, just like receiving your white coat here today. They are a pivotal piece in the long-awaited journey of becoming a physician. There will be many days here that you may feel overwhelmed or scared about your future and academic trajectory. But please keep in mind, you have navigated and overcame similar feelings in the past. Many of us sitting here today have been told no before. No, your medical school application isn't competitive. No, your grades aren't high enough for the hardest. No, to hear you'll never become a physician. If you are sitting in this room today, awaiting the recipient of your first white coat, you have demonstrated resilience, commitment to the field of medicine, and an unwavering desire to serve others that simply couldn't be deterred. You have exemplified the core components of being an excellent physician before setting foot into a medical school classroom. So today, I'm here to tell you, yes, you deserve to be here. Yes, you can do this. And yes, you're going to become the physician you've worked so relentlessly to become. I would like to remind you to take care of yourself and your peers throughout your time here and continue to do so in your future career in medicine. Check in with your loved ones back home. Remember to talk with your friends and to make a true effort to develop new ones here. Form groups to study and work together to conquer a difficult concept. Make time to go to the beach or enjoy a trip to Simpson Bay. And remember just how important it is to sleep. Let your mind and body rest and recharge so you can be replenished enough to take on the next day challenges. I would like to leave y'all with a quote by a famous physician, William Osler. Be calm and strong and patient. Meet failure and disappointment with courage. Rise superior to the trials of life and never give in to hopelessness. I find these words encompass our time here in medical school. There will be new challenges you've never faced before, new parts of yourself you didn't know existed, and quite often, a feeling that those who have doubted your abilities in the past just may have been right all along. You'll be tested to your fullest extent and asked to continue when your resources are low. But I promise you, there's more inside each and every one of you than it feels like in those challenging moments. It is up to you to find a path that allows you to find those pieces within yourself and continue to give as well as grow. You've taken a big step in your first few weeks at AUC as you begin your medical school journey. From each of us who are just a few steps ahead, we are proud of you, we believe in you, and we'll be there right to help you along the way. Thank you again and welcome to AUC.
All right, we will ask for your patience for just a few minutes as we set up to begin the donning ceremony.
Good morning, everyone. A few words on how we're going to choreograph this. So we'd like for you guys to stand up one row at a time, and you'll have people on the side that will be kind of giving you a cue. And a row is the entire row, both sections. Okay, and you'll move to the left. You'll come down, you'll walk across the stage. You'll come up 5 at a time, have your white coats donned, and then walk back. Okay, you'll bring, when you stand up, bring your name tag with you. I know it's taped.
Claudia Adorno Martinez, Ava Afshar, Jaden Aguano, Tanishka Ajani, Tagreed Alkinani, Lindita Abazi, Claudia Adorno Martinez, Ava Afshar, Jaden Aguano, Tanishka Ajani, Tagreed Alkinani, Amir Alabadi, Jean-Paul Ambroise Robles, Taylor Anastasio, Paige Arsamont, Henry Arma, Kennedy Ayer, Arash Bakyan, Aisha Najma Belgor, Amanda Ann Bennett, Kiana Bennett, Natalia Berrio Perez, Olivia Berruti, Janelle Edipia Boateng, Ramya Prabha Bondalapati, Louvi Mercedes Braswell, Georgia Brown, Tatiana Bukavin, Emma Burke, Inicia Eileen Carter, Ariana Kasingal, Alexis Castañeda, Brianna Cervantes, Annalise Cheshire, Robert Justin Sampang Chess, Kyung Bae Choi, Anchal Chopra, Tanushi Chopra, Yasmin Shraim, Brianna Clopton, Arthur Julian Cobb, Hannah Kohn, Alexander Cologne, Alexa Cooper, Christian Daniels, Shavanka De Silva, Sarah DeHillian, Gabrielle Delisha, Dominic DeModna, Sanjani Desai, Yesiliet Diaz, Roman DeCao, Laura Din, Neha Doipali, Tatiana Dugan, Katrina Tolentino Dumac, Francis Dunn, William Dunning, Benjamin Eichler, Zobida Elamin, Jason Ellis, Joseph Epstein, Navida Farhat, Genesis Fernandez, Jennifer Flores, Samantha Fronterio, Rafael Antonio Gallardo, Amanda Gabriela Garcia Enriquez, Zia Garcia, David Gukasian, Miss Lady Gonzalez, Tyler Gordon, Danielle Alyssa Gray, Tolga Gulyashar, Ayantu Hamid, Jacqueline Harajli, Megan Harrell, Atlas Hind, Lori Hershey, Madeline Hepner, Angelo Honculata. Stephen Hu. Amber Danielle Hooks. Larab Humayun. Ayman Fuad Jabri. Jasmine C. Jackson. Hamza Javed. Jason Jimenez. Joseph Joel. Kaylin Jones. Prachi Kadyan. Shelby Calden. Tarinder Kaur. Shmuel Kavian. Dalia Kennedy. Deborah Killian. Fiona G. Kim. Alexa King. Esprit Coulard. Sue Jha. Brianna Lacey. Aisha Laguna Merced. Esther Lande. Jacob Lee. Jacob Lester. Osvani Leva Matos. Oscar Lim, Dakota Nicholas Luna, Anairari Maisonet Vasquez, Matthew Major, Ala Maki, Yvette Bianca Malari, Divija Mandalapu, Mason Mandavi, Alex Mandyan, Alyssa Martell, Linedia Masson, Garrett Mayweather, Callista Ann McCarty, Raya Mon Medinet, Christopher Megarian, Elizabeth Celine Mitchell, Laura Montero, Madison Moran, Sarah Muslimani, Sarah Muhlberg, Michelle Mugo, Danielle Muniz Lebricio, Lauren Monroe, Nena Ndukwe, Suchita Namani, Connor James Neeson, Audrey Wen, Destiny Wen, Andrea Nicolay, Uche Njaku, Nicole Northover, David Olea, Mohammed Omir, Bianca Ortiz Morales, Tara Payne, Sriti Pala, Elizabeth Palma de Souza, Disha Yogesh Patel, Kush Patel, Pooja Patel, Romil Patel, Madison Pearson, Morgan Pinzone, Morgan Annette Platts, Ovanes Polisadjan, Oscar Ramos, Ria Prashant Rathi, Nuha Reza, James Rickert, Brian Rios Roque, Tommy Ristovsky, Angel Rocafort, Arista Noel Rodriguez, Benjamin Rush, Anthony G. Russell, DeChris Ryder, Gabriel Agustin Saavedra, Mark Said, Jonathan Solomon, Jude Albert Salazar, Alex Salcido, Karn Singh Sandhu, Jonathan Alexander Santos, Mariette Sargios, Raymond Schollmeyer, Inyolua Sewaje, Preni Shamirian, Anthony Shams, Zat Akbar Shah, Brian Sheridan, Hunter Glenn Smith, Janani Srinivasan, Cassandra Strauss, Hyun Bin Alyssa Suh, Charles Sun, Kevin Zaffron, Kevin Ta, Pansy Tadros, Madison Thomas, Brian Andres Torres Torres, Giovanni Urquia, Abby U. Adosamwan, Christine Uzigwe, Nicole Vlahos, Angela Vo, Jacqueline Wagner, Alexandria Wallen, Daniel Watts, Trinity White, Natasha Wisdom, Keem Wright, Shadira Patricia York, Nicole Christine Unit,
Kashayla Tharp,
Nicole Abdallah Aga, Zain Alam, Saeed Ali, Sophia Anokum, Joshua Mwuli, Zachary Beckner, Zachary J. Billings, Jerry Wayne Blankenship, Monica Bora, Mariam Chaudhry, Aaron Waitet Chu, Shanice Daniels, Alejandro Echeverri, Andrea Endres, Mark Fahim, Ezekiel Fenelon, Danielle Foster, Stephanie Hernandez, Jordan Heingardner Hendricks, Claudio Economi, Lana Ilizarova, Marilyn Quito, Isabella Cup, Udyan Mahajan, Yara Mohammed, Khadija Mohiuddin, Samantha Moss, Ashlyn Narman, Lashonda Renee Pena, Audrey Petueris, Opeolua Sangosini, Mia Sarashvili, Marvi Shah, Jagmeet Sidhu, David Stufflebeam, Hakam Solomon, Justina Tame, Alexander von Hoffman, Roy Witten, Kara Wilbanks,
All right, let's give all of you one more big round of applause. All right, now it's my pleasure to introduce our Chair of Clinical Medical Sciences and Professor of Surgery, Dr. Magda Kwiatkowska, and she is going to do the recitation of the modern Hippocratic Oath.
Good morning, future physicians. Congratulations. It's a big day today, right? It's huge. You just received your white coats, and remember to keep it clean and ironed. Wear it with dignity and pride. And remember that this is one of the most important attributes of your future profession as physicians. Now, remember that the One of the most important and longest traditions of AUC is to take the physician oath during the white coat ceremony, and you will have the privilege to do it today, right now. I would like you to read these important words together with me. Let's begin. I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply for the benefit of the sick all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic needs. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warm sympathy and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say, I know not. All right, that's important sentence. So remember and repeat that. I will not be ashamed to say, I know not, nor will I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me, the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. If it is given to me to save a life, all thanks. But it may be also within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes these related problems if I'm to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm. If I do not violate this oath, may I enjoy life and art, respected while I live, and remembered with affection thereafter. May I always act so as to preserve the finest tradition of my calling, and may I long experience the joy of healing those who seek my help. Wonderful. Congratulations.
All right, now it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Noah Jensen. Dr. Jensen is a 2013 graduate of AUC. He is the medical director of critical care and chair of medical ethics at Hamilton Medical Center in Georgia. Welcome, Dr. Jensen.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank the American University of the Caribbean faculty, Alumni Association, and administrative staff for this amazing opportunity to talk to you all today. So thank you very much. It's an absolute honor and a privilege. To you students, you made it. Congratulations. You've made it through undergrad. You've taken the MCAT. You've been accepted to medical school, and you're finally here. I know it wasn't easy, so congratulations. I remember being in your place 13 years ago. I remember being excited, cautiously optimistic, and absolutely terrified. Terrified that I wouldn't have what it takes to complete medical school, terrified that I wouldn't be smart enough to get through the material. I remember my first experiences on the island after I arrived, trying to load chippy minutes into a phone. I remember driving my car or floating my car through the golf course after a rainstorm. I remember buying a car from a newspaper ad from someone I could not understand, and then cramming it full of students to go get groceries. But through all of that, this place became a true home to me and my wife for 2 years, and I have to say, 13 years later, it's great to be back. But through all of that, as I sat down and tried to think of what I wanted to talk to you about today, I didn't want to give you a generic be all that you can be speech. I wanted to give you true lessons that I learned from my time in medical school and my time practicing as a physician. My hope that you'll find these 10 lessons encouraging and instructive on how to be successful through this next stage of your life. So lesson number 1, don't compare yourself to others. Angela Duckworth, a scientist and professor of psychology, shocked the world when she wrote down what she believes drives success. It's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not even a particular set of skills. What she determined is that it was passion and long-term perseverance, which she characterized as grit. This grit characteristic is possessed by individuals who demonstrate passion and perseverance towards a goal despite being confronted by significant obstacles and distractions. I was fortunate enough to begin working to develop this unknowingly during my undergraduate time at the Citadel Military School in South Carolina. I was not the best or the brightest student, and I frequently had to study much longer and harder to master the material compared to others at first. I recall being jealous of a particular friend of mine who, no matter how much he studied, he always seemed to get excellent grades. It felt like everything came very easy for him, and although it discouraged me at times, it was through that obstacle that I found that I was being forced to outwork everyone else. And so that's what I dedicated myself to do. As time went on, this friend and I both ended up in medical school. However, since he had never been pushed to develop the needed skills to succeed, time management, perseverance, delayed gratification, or grit, he struggled and eventually withdrew from medical school. Remember this, as much as talent counts, effort counts twice. Don't worry about being the smartest or the quickest, but work to be the grittiest. Number 2, ask for help before you need it. The pace and the sheer volume of material you're about to absorb is truly staggering. I have experienced the panic of being behind, which has led to discouragement, which has led to more panic, which has led to less retention, which has led to poor outcomes. How can you prevent this? Utilize the resources that AUC has set aside for you. Attend faculty after hours and ask questions. Make the material make sense to you. You are blessed with amazing faculty who have dedicated their professional lives to educating you. They want nothing more than to see you succeed. Ask more advanced medical students for tips. Learn how to learn the content as different techniques change based on the subject matter. Number 3, prioritize your mental health. This is important. And if done right, it will allow you to be effective in resetting and recharging in preparation for the next day. If it's neglected, you run the risk of leaving medical school a shell of a person with a degree. Think of things that you enjoy to do and do a little bit of it every day. Keep up with your hobbies, if even to a lesser degree, as they feed your whole person. Get involved in extracurriculars here on campus. Eat, sleep, play, laugh, enjoy your time in paradise, and then get back to work. Number 4, failure is part of the process. I know that's scary to hear. Dale Carnegie said, discouragement and failure are the two of the surest stepping stones to success. So I have a story. When I was a senior resident on rounds one day, our team identified a patient who had an infection and was becoming septic. My attending told me to start this patient on broad spectrum antibiotics. So I opened my computer and I started to place the order, and then the nurse had a quick question about a heart medication that our patient was on. So I took time, answered her question, and then the social worker wanted me to sign a script for home oxygen for one of our other patients. And then the intern needed help with the procedure. And then we had noon conference at which I was presenting. And then next thing I knew, after all of that, the order was never placed for antibiotics. That patient got worse. That patient's condition got so bad, they started to drop their blood pressure, which required them to go to a critical care unit for more aggressive therapy. And that patient did not end up doing well. When I realized that I hadn't started antibiotics, I was absolutely gutted. I have failed tests. I have botched presentations. I have missed diagnoses. And yes, I have failed to treat patients in a timely manner. But through it all, I have learned from my mistakes, and it has made me a better physician because of them. Remember this, failure is merely an opportunity to learn our weaknesses so that we can address them and get better. Number 5, consistency is key. Caleb Dressel, an American, holds the men's freestyle 100-meter record in the Tokyo 2020 Games. He trains 6 hours every day, split between 2 sessions of 3 hours of swimming, 3 hours of weightlifting every day. And for all of that, it culminates to a race that he completed in 47 seconds. No one wants to show you the hours and hours of becoming who they are today. They want to show you the highlights of what they've become. Enthusiasm is common. Endurance is rare. Medical school, internship, residency, fellowship, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and requires the consistent preparation to reflect that. Number 6, be intentional with your time. Medical school and training has a way of being all-consuming, which you will experience here very shortly. But remember that there's more to you than medicine. And these other aspects of your life need attention. Friendships, spouses, children, parents, family in general, they all require your time and attention. So be intentional and give them the attention they deserve. The Bible says, what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Don't gain the world and lose your relationships. Number 7, be teachable. Humility and respect go a long way with your peers and clinical instructors. In your medical training, you will meet important and influential people, but remember that connections are forged by the way you treat people and talk about people. Any fool can criticize, complain, condemn, and most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. Number 8, find a mentor. The mentor-mentee relationship is so important during your professional and personal development. This relationship works towards the achievement of mutually defined goals that will help you develop skills, ability, knowledge, and refine your thinking. During my fellowship at the Cleveland Clinic, one of my attendings asked me to do a simple exercise. He asked me to pretend that I was retiring and that the newspaper was going to run a story about my illustrious career. Then he asked me to write that article, which I did. And that exercise forced me to think about parts of medicine that I valued. It forced me to think about things that I wanted to achieve both in my career and my life. As you go through your training over the next 4 years, keep reflecting and refining about what you want your career to look like. If you are at the end of your career looking back, what would you say success looks like? I know my definition of that has changed over time. Our potential is one thing, but what we do with it is quite another. Number 9, take your time to explore different fields within medicine. So I remember at first I kind of vacillated between OB-GYN, then cardiology, then interventional cardiology, emergency medicine. But it was first told to me that critical care would be a good fit by my wife, actually. She noticed that I had a change in my mood. It improved when I was working in the ICU. And it was true, even though it was high stress, it was long hours, it was intense medicine, I was happy. I loved it. Whereas in the clinic, even with better hours, for my personality, it sucked the life out of me. Remember, there are different fields of medicine with different focuses, with different lifestyles that attract different personalities. Find what excites you, find what challenges you, and find the type of people who you love working alongside. Number 10, this is last but not least, keep perspective. Take time to be thankful. Be thankful for your past, because it's made you who you are today, for your present, and for your future that you hope to obtain. Be thankful for the people in your life that have worked to support you and who love you. Recognize these amazing opportunities that have been given to you. Work to find ways to serve others and to pull them up along the way. And know that God has a plan for your life and He's in control. You may be surprised at the path you go down when you loosen your grip on what you think you want. Now that you put on this white coat, this is the first tangible representation of your future career in the field of medicine. This journey of medicine is like none other. You will be entrusted with the most valuable things that we as humans hold dear, the lives of loved ones. When you put on this coat, you'll be accepting that mantle that society has put on us as physicians. You'll be called to examine patients, ask them intimate questions, and even share in their pain and suffering at times. It's true. There'll be times when you're called to walk through darkness and death with your patient and their families. As a critical care doctor, I do that fairly frequently. But even in those moments, you'll be given an opportunity to be a light in the darkness and to touch lives in so many wonderful ways. So with that, I wish you all the best of luck in your upcoming adventure in the beginning of your career. Remember, work hard with grit, support each other, and enjoy every minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jensen. Now it's my pleasure to introduce AUC's Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Dr. Nuri Pirani, to provide the closing remarks. Wow, what a ceremony. Let's have another round of applause for our wonderful students. Congratulations to all of you on receiving your white coat in today's ceremony. This is a very special day, and I am so honored to be here with you today. I am your Senior Associate Dean of Academic Affairs and a fellow international medical graduate. I remember with great fondness and pride my own white coat ceremony, and I hope you and your families will do so as well. Today marks the beginning of the next step in your training as future physicians. So be sure to study hard, stay focused. There are lots of distractions, so stay focused. Keep your head down and your eye on your ultimate goal of becoming a physician. Be humble, be kind, and always remember, being able to treat patients is a privilege, one that we should not take for granted. By donning your white coat today and every day, as you progress through your education and in your future careers, you no longer just represent yourself. You represent the profession, and you represent each of us here at AUC. With that in mind, remember to be honest and professional in all of your actions. You are a future physician who will be entrusted with patients' most private and vulnerable moments. Again, be honest and professional in your everyday lives. I would like to thank all of our students' family members and loved ones from around the globe for being here with us today. I would like to thank our entire AUC family, including faculty, administration, staff, and deans, for sharing in this occasion. I would also like to thank our distinguished speakers for leading us today in an outstanding and inspiring ceremony. Finally, let us start today to begin the work you have come here to do, to learn, to listen carefully but ask new questions, to see with new eyes, and most of all, to leave this hall today with a commitment in your hearts and minds to build a new future that will improve the health and well-being of humanity. In closing, it is my greatest pleasure to welcome you all to the AUC family, and we wish you the very best in your education and future practice of medicine. Thank you. All right, thank you all so much. This is the end of the white coat ceremony. If you did not get your formal picture taken before the ceremony began, please make sure to get that taken. Refreshments will be served at the far end of the hallway.
Are we going to take a quick picture? So we need the students, excuse me, we need the students to stay. Here, we're going to get one group